All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Comic-Con forecast. We're in 2019, already starting the road to the Comic-Con highways with Bob Salley in Wizard World, New Orleans. Honestly, we just found out about this probably half an hour before the show. We run around like frantic to make sure that we got Bob Salley because he's a huge supporter of indie comics, great comic book creator. We're going to jump over to his page in just a second, and it's our only stop for the Creators Comic-Con forecast this year. And we're going to be doing, for those who don't know, if this is your first time since the 2019 show, we cover the creators on this end. So if we know a comic book creator, it's going to be somewhere. We're going to show you who they are. We're going to tell you where they are. We're even going to tell you their table if we can get the information on time. We can tell you if they're doing any panels. Anything that we can give you in this little blurb of a video, we give you so you can be motivated. Travis Gibb forgot his headset. Not sure what that means, Travis. I think Travis was talking about coming on or not. You don't have to come on. You can make comments in the section. And, of course, we'll read people's comments throughout these videos. So last year we weren't reading as many comments, but this year we're going to be more interactive with our fans. So if you have something to say, please add it, including if you have a Comic-Con. We caught a couple Comic-Cons last year this way. So every week we're going to get together. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the different areas. We have a new color scheme for the map. I kind of wanted different colors to signify that it's 2019 now. And we don't really need to read the states that much on this because normally I would put the New Orleans right here. But Louisiana was so small and it was the only one. I figured, hey, I could just point to it. That's where it's going to be, in Louisiana. Louisiana is a smaller state to put stuff on. Sometimes we'll have as much as 13 different cons going on. We'll have to put a world area over here. So we do a lot. When we do it all so we can advocate for as many creators as we can. We even had to make one that was actually bigger for New York Comic Con. So New York Comic Con, we actually had to extend the size of it and kind of get around and cheat on it a little bit. So we're excited. We're excited to be here in our now second year. We covered 2018. We made it. It started off as a Comic-Con show. We were talking about the Comic-Con Highway show. And I liked that. And then we were talking about stops. And then one day I realized that what we're really doing is talking about almost like a forecast map. And boom, the Comic-Con forecast was born. And if you guys are going to a Comic-Con, please tell me ahead of time. The more I know, the more I can put into it. Because Bob Salley, I found out randomly on social media, and I'm not mad at Bob Salley, don't get me wrong. He's a busy guy. What's going on? Tommy Sharp's in the chat room. I'm not mad at him, of course, because, you know, busy guy. But the sooner you give me your information, the sooner we can do it. Especially if I had like 15 other creators to talk about, I wouldn't be able to necessarily go into it. Indiana and Montana have the weirdest border. I noticed that this morning. It looks like a face on this map. Anyone else ever noticed that? It's got like the most rigid border out of all the states. Like it's just got a weirdness to it. I mean, New Jersey's kind of weird with its shape too, but you can tell it's a slow show because I'm actually looking at these things. Normally, I'd be rattling through trying to get through the show and to make sure I covered everybody. But let's see who Bob Salley is. Who's Bob Salley? Bob Salley's the guy at New Orleans. Oh, Nolo. There it is. I'm an idiot. It was right in front of me the whole time. I was looking for this in the pre-show. For those who don't know, in the YouTube audience, we always go live a few minutes early on our actual Facebook show before we go live on YouTube. So we've had some people hanging out with me already and talking to me. So cool. And of course, Bob Salley is the creator of the, see, I always say org. Now I'm screwing my mind up. I think it's org. I think I'm saying it wrong. But he's the amazing creator behind this. And it's my dyslexia. It screws me on this for some reason. Ogre? Is that what it is? I think I'm getting it right. I like this. Bob Salley's not a writer with a drinking problem. He's a drinker with a writing problem. Now, if Bob Salley's name sounds familiar, but you haven't seen that, maybe you've seen Shelter Division. Or maybe you've seen him at a Wawa. Or maybe you've seen him, and this is the big one, with Salvagers. Salvagers is probably the most known thing that he does out there with his name. And, of course, he does that through Source Point Press, who he's been teaming with for over a year now. So we're super excited for him. Happy New Year, Bob Salley, and may your con season start off amazing today. Now, every time on this show, now that we've met Bob Salley, and you guys seriously should be following him. And I don't think he has any more room for friends at this point. He's probably one of those guys who has all the friends that he can handle. Oh, he's got a little bit of room. He must have recently cleaned. But usually Bob Salley doesn't have room. Follow. If the creator doesn't have the room, follow them. You can still follow them. You don't have to be friends with them. Follow them if they're over. I do all the time. If I know someone and they friend request me and they're full, I go, hey, listen, I didn't say no to your friend request. You're just full, but I will follow you. And that's exactly what I do. So follow Bob Salley. Also follow him on SourcePoint Press. And check out my friend in New Orleans if you can. Seriously, he's an amazing creator. And the one thing you don't realize when he does all these videos and does all this stuff, he is big. And I'm not a person who's often like tall big, not like in any other way. I'm not one who's like often noticing that people are taller than me. I'm about 6 feet tall, so I don't really notice it. But he is like tall. And he's got this stature about him that, like, he just oozes coolness. So check out the cool dude, the cool man of comics, Bob Salley. All right, so we're going to move on. We're going to move on to our friends at conventionscene.com. And here we go. Conventionscene.com is going to be our partner throughout the whole year. We're going to be talking about Comic-Cons, where creators are going to be. And this side of the show, they're going to be talking about all the Comic-Cons in the world. So if we're not covering it, they're covering it, hopefully. Hey, Marcus, hang out. We're going to be doing some cool stuff in a few minutes. If you want to come on the Facebook video live or on YouTube, or we could go through the actual Google Hangouts, let me know. That other part of today's special show is about to begin. But first, Convention Scene, who don't know, for those who don't know, excuse me, is a just great site that actually talks about where all the conventions are going to be. Sometimes I actually pick shows from Convention Scene. So I'm super excited about that. Convention Scene is going to be in the Tim O'Neill MD, which is Maryland. And you know, it's funny, doing this show, I had to actually learn a lot of these. I didn't even know this. And I was watching a show that was making fun of it. You don't realize how many states actually have the same letters. So it does become complicated at times. I do have to look up shows every so often. But I like the fact that Comic Scene actually does it for me a lot of the times. But I know that's Maryland, just because of Baltimore, too. I'm starting to get to know the United States a lot better. This is actually teaching me more about the United States than school ever did. So you're going to be able to go to Baltimore, which I love Baltimore, at the Red Lion Hotel, Baltimore North. Can't wait to get back to Baltimore. It's all the way at the end of my Comic-Con 2019 travel plans. It's almost near Halloween, but I'm super excited. And plus, I'll be able to take Jax out when the leaves are changing. Oh, it's going to be awesome. So we're going to be able to check out comic book and more show there. And we're going to be talking about more Comic-Cons as the year goes on. But today we have something special. Today I've been asked about how to apply for a panel. How do you get panels? So we're going to switch gears right now. And this was something that's hidden. I'm not doing this because I don't think everyone should do a panel. I think the people who are watching these shows, who are learning from these shows, who are communicating are going to find this because they're going to tell each other, hey, Rob did a video. But the average person, I've been to some Comic-Cons where I've had to watch until my panel showed up. Like, 'cause I like to get to my panel rooms early if I can. And some of the people that they allow to do panels is ridiculous. And I don't mean that in any negative way other than, seriously, there can be better content, you know? And some of the people are literally just going there to hang out with their friends. I've actually walked in on people playing cards at a table. And they're all just hanging out. I don't know if it's an ego thing or whatever have you. So I do encourage creators who are serious about sharing, even if you want to do a panel about your own work, God bless you, do it. So I was asked recently, how do I do panels? Well, the first thing I do is I have to actually make my panel stuff. So let me see. I have to make a description of the panels I want to run. For 2019, I had a couple panels. Let's see, what is it? And you have to see, I did a template here where I put a bunch of different information. This is smart. You know, you're going to want to do the things because if you're going to do a lot of panels, and one day I applied for over 30 panels, you don't want to type everything in. It gets old quickly. So what I did is I made myself a cheat sheet. A lot of places might ask you, hey, why do you think you could do a panel? Have you done any other panels? Apparently there was a typo in here I didn't even notice. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. I probably picked it up when I put it in and fixed it. Let's see. So I would put, I've worked, as an example, I have worked on, presented over 30 panels, which included the Indie Takeover in Daytona, and we have 4 indie shows and Indie Takeover 2 planned for 2019. So that was something I could drop in a section where you'll understand this all in a minute, I guarantee you, but just giving you an idea of your cheat sheet you want ready. They want to ask, well, how long would you want your panel to be? Sometimes in this I have 60 to 90 minutes for my Indie Takeover. And then I have 3 main panels that I like to do throughout the year. And I might add a panel as the year goes on if I want to do a special panel. So one of the panels I have is indieadvocates.com presents how to produce and promote your self-made comics, your self-made comic book, and while building your brand. And I say that again because I read it horribly. Indieadvocates.com presents how to produce and promote your self-made comic books while building your brand. See, it sounds better when you just read it out right. And notice the instant plug there, indieadvocates.com. I deliberately do that. I want my website in the address. Sometimes they won't put it. They know what I'm trying to do, and they'll just put Indie Advocates, which I'm cool with. A lot of them do put indieadvocates.com or writtensins.com. So it worked out really well in 2019. I was getting hits everywhere. The biggest hits I got was when I went to FetCon. So I was pretty excited about that. Join Mr. Anderson and his guests for one more panel. You will need to learn the for the one panel, you will need to learn the in and outs of creating, promoting, branding, and selling your self-made comic books. This is mostly a Q&A. So bring your questions. See, I always do that. I don't know. Something with my dyslexia doesn't have me put selling your self-made published comic books. So I'm going to have to watch for a typo for that. And then there's Comics in the Classroom, which join Nicole Jobin and Mr. Anderson and other creators for a sit-down as they talk about the value of adding comics into the classroom. Nicole, being a teacher, has watched students come alive because of comics, and Mr. Anderson owes his ability to read to comics. Join them to learn why comics are the ultimate gateway to students reading more. And then the power of diversity and sexual representation in comic books. Join Mr. Anderson and a panel of creators who have sought out escape in comics and found representation of who they are in those pages. This panel will explore representations and the importance of diversity and sexual representation in comics and how comics are on the front lines of all social movements for equality. So, yes, Marcus says I plan on being on all 4 Indie Takeover panels. Yes, I didn't know we're doing 4, but cool. We do have 2 days in Daytona. So we do have 2 days in Daytona. So there could be an extra one. We might actually do a creators showcase, which you guys are hearing for the first time. It was one of the panels I'm thinking about adding, where we actually just have creators come up, do their pitch. We have them pitch everything. And I do that with the Indie Takeover. Indie Advocates presents one, but this one would be more thorough. And then we go over pitches and we talk to people about why they made their pitches. You know, more of a deconstruction of how you table and how you build the brand. While indieadvocates.com presents how to produce and promote your self-made comic books is really a Q&A panel, which allows people to ask all their questions. So it'd be a different gearing, and I definitely look forward to doing that. So let's get into it. Let's pick a few comic book cons. That's why we stayed on this page. Let's do Acme. Let's do Central Florida. I know didn't have it when I tried. I sent them an email. I never got anything back. Hero Trader actually got canceled, sadly. I'm trying to find ones that I know will have actual panel things. Pensacola. I might actually look to see to do this when it's open. Or Pensacon. Someone said that that was a good show, but it might be sold out. We'll do London Comic Spring UK just to get an international flair in there. Emerald City probably has a pretty good one. And C2E2, I think it's ending very shortly. So Daytona, I'm running Daytona, so it wouldn't make sense. I'm the one in charge of the panel room, so there's no panel submission. I'm creating them and inviting people for a Daytona, which I'm actually going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. And Marcus is actually a big plan of that, so Marcus is going to be there. We'll do Comic-Con Revolution because I'm actually doing some panels with them. Oh, actually, I actually had to send an email in for that one, so that was probably not a great one. Okay, so here we go. Programming. You go to find programming. See, they unfortunately have a schedule there. So let's say that you have a schedule here that's already made, but you still want to do something. My suggestion here is send out an email. This is an early show. It's coming up soon, so it's probably my bad for even looking at it. But just usually they will have something, and we'll see if that has it. But send an email. So this is Pensacon. Let me see. Applications. I don't know if I put in for Artist Alley. Let's see. Panel Workshop. There we go. So let's see. Oh, Artist Alley is sold out. So I might have been on a wait list because I guess I thought, oh, I was supposed to do something in February. That's why. I already had a February show, and I was trying to take off time in the early winter. Plus, I think this one is, yeah, this one's right near Jax's birthday, so I wouldn't have done it anyway. But here we are, and I've never filled this one out. So I wanted to take panels that I not necessarily filled out myself yet, because I could have gone to the ones I've already done. But instead, I want to show you guys how the standard setups here and how easy it would be. So let's see. Oops. Let's see. Panel name. So then remember that drop screen I had that I was talking about? Let's do Indie Advocates Presents. So you put that there. You put your contact name. And then you would do your email, which, you know, I do Indie Advocates at yahoo.com. Now, I'm not going to put in my phone number, but, you know, I would put in my phone number. We'll just do 5s for now, the classic thing for anything. My address is on the internet. No, but, you know, you really put in your regular thing, and you fill that out, and then you do your description. You drop in your description, and I have mine pre-done, so here we go. And then you pick your categories. Some places let you pick one. Some people let you pick 2. And then also you're doing a workshop or a special activity. Creating comic books, if you're not doing it right there, look, as far as Marcus, as far as I did try to get into Savannah, and this is before I went to their Fairfax show. Their Fairfax show honestly turned me off a lot. There was they put Artist Alley in the back of the hall. They clogged the front of the building. You could not barely walk. So people were getting frustrated and not even heading towards the back. Artist Alley was stranded all the way in the back, barely got people to come by. People were very disappointed by that show. And I think the injury to insult for that one was when they actually had a panel celebrating that they put on a Comic-Con. I've never seen a show make a celebration panel in the last hour of the convention. They could have done it while everyone was breaking down if they wanted to and let the creators go. But no, they did it at a time. And I broke down. This is one of the few shows I actually just broke down. I was done. And I broke down, and I was pissed off, and I walked back in, and it was 4 o'clock. They were supposed to end at 5, and they're all celebrating that they put on a panel. They took away everyone from the show floor. And for anyone who's watching, that promotes a Comic-Con, never do your cosplay contest, any panel. You should not have a panel in the last hour of your show because the last hour of the show should be dedicated for the vendors. So the vendors and the artists and the creators can all sell their stuff. So Savannah really, the people who ran it were, Savannah wasn't a bad show. I liked it because it was an ego show for me because apparently people love my book at SCAT, which is like a school for art students. And I think they're all passing around one PDF, but it's awesome that they love my book so much. So I had fans coming up to me, talking to me for hours there, which was awesome. It wasn't a great show because I had Jax with me and he wasn't feeling well that weekend. I don't know what was up with him. He was just off and he was kicking me and he wasn't happy. Some shows, Jax is an angel, honestly, never a problem. And then there are a few that they're a problem with, and that was a problem show. So I won't be going back. I didn't even ask them again. It's not worth the trip to me after the way that they handled themselves. Maybe if I hear some good stuff this year, I'll give them a try again later. But I think that they're unprofessional, honestly, and that's what we're doing great at Con this year, is because I want to hold cons accountable. And Savannah was one of the ones, Marcus. But I mean, if you go, let me know. Maybe they'll learn from their mistakes. And that's also what Great Con is. It's not just holding people accountable, but hopefully rising the standards. So we want to do here, we want to pick our tracks. So if I was doing this panel, I'd do comic books. I would also, if they allowed me, do artists. Sometimes there's a limit to it, how many you can do. This one doesn't seem to care, but usually it's 3 or 4. And then I would put in my name. I'd put my email, my phone number, and anyone else. Like Marcus, if you were doing this with me, I'd put your name in it. And I'd say, here's your phone number and all that. A lot of times what I'll do is do you need a projector? Unless you're going to make, like, here's the thing with projectors. Some people really nail it with projectors, but 90% of the time with projectors, no one cares because no one's doing it, you know? So, hey, Bob, Salley, how is New Orleans? We were actually talking about you. I only found out that you were doing it because I saw your post and I covered it. And Bob Salley's in the chat room. We'll show him what we made him real quick. It should still be open. Let me see. Let me see if I can show. Oops, Paige was calling me. Here, I'll show you, Bob. I can show you real quick. Here it is. Because I know you're busy. There it is. We got you covered. Bob Salley is at New Orleans Comic Con. So we got you, Bob. We let the world know where you are. I hope that doesn't sound creepy. So projectors, I don't do that. Does your please confirm that all participants in your panel, moderator, panelists are at least 18 years old. I mean, if you're going to have younger people on your show, you're going to have to get probably, yeah, see right here, they won't even let it. And this comes down to, remember I was saying people hanging out? That became a problem with some panels, some behind-the-scenes stuff. I was talking about it earlier in the show, how it was some really bad panels. That was because basically an adult would set up the panel and then let kids run it, and it became like, you know, a mess, you know. And I'm not saying that you can't have a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old maybe put on a fantastic panel, because I kind of disagree with saying you can't be under 18. What I would do is I would put in, if this were my convention, I would say you'd have to have the moderator be in charge and be able to do that, and subject to having the panel removed. And what I would do is I run in the con, I would actually put one of my people in there to make sure of this. Qualifications is important. What have you done? What do you do? Who are you? What have you done to be able to get panels? Now, I have not had a lot of trouble getting panels outside of there's Reed Pop has not given me panels, and no harshness. Honestly, no harshness towards that. Of course, when I see a New York Comic Con panelist, I go through it and go, my panel would have been better. The ego drives me. But honestly, Reed Pop gets so many things. I understand. New York Comic Con is like huge. Even C2E2, I got waitlisted on the Artist Alley table. And of course, I feel like I've done enough. But, you know, I look down that Artist Alley. It's legit. It's legit. There's great creators there. So I guess I just haven't earned it yet. But when it comes to most other shows, I do think I've earned it with what I do with Indie Advocates. I've put on now over 30 panels. I have been across the Northeast. So that's what I would put. I would put in, you know, I've ran the Indie Takeover. I've done over 30 panels. And then I drop some links. And one of the things I do drop, Marcus, is I drop the videos where I'm at. We should have some videos from Daytona. So if you can track down some of those videos, I believe you were on the panel that I think someone was filming. I'm not sure because we couldn't get bandwidth, so I wasn't filming. And I forgot my other camera, so I actually couldn't use the camera phone that I had at the time. Usually I have like a secondary phone I bring with me. My older phones, I wind up keeping them because I'm a techie, and I can't let my old tech go. So basically, I would film it and I'd have a stand, but my son broke my stand recently, so I have to actually get not the whole stand, but I have to get a new clip, and I should actually write that down so I do it so I can start taping it. But you want to tape a panel, and my sister had pointed something out, my older sister. Smarter than I am most days, and she said that I shouldn't put all my panels online. And I kind of agree with her. She didn't want me to do it because then what would be the point of coming to see me? But I also don't like doing it because I also don't have permission from everyone. I mean, there are the blanket statements that once you're within a convention that they can film at any point, so I wouldn't be wrong for doing it. But you never know how a conversation is going to go. So live streaming is sometimes oh, there we go. So here we go. We actually have it. There you go. Cool. They filmed the panels, and those are great panels, Marcus. Tag me in it. If you have it on social media, tag me in it. I'd love to see them. I was such a fan of those panels. I can't wait for us to get back together. I loved your passion. For those who don't know Marcus, Marcus is one of the most passionate dudes. Marcus H. Roberts. He's in the chat section right now. He's a super good dude. He's someone I'm definitely trying to get to go to all the shows with me this year. If I have a panel, he has an open invite. If he can show up to the convention, he can be on my panel. It's kind of like that. I'll give up my seat for Marcus. I love the energy on that man. And those who don't know, Terrence Baker is amazing as well. And we also had Jean with us on that. And I know her first name's not Jean, but I cannot pronounce her first name. I'm going to have to sit down with her one day and just have her help me work through it. Something with my dyslexia, every so often I trip on some names, like crazy trip. And her name, it's like Dorsfine. And I screwed up, and I know it's not right, so I can say Jean, so I do Jean. But yeah, so I would put in a video link for a panel I've done. I've put you know what I also like to do? If if I want to really impress someone, like if I'm doing a C2E2, I'll put in like the link where someone else had me listed as a guest doing a panel and all that. But you know, that is what it is, and you put in yeah, I can't say it. Maybe you can teach me how to say it because I'm so horrible with names, and that was a bad one. And you can even upload a file here, which I think is cool. There she is. Jean, how do you say your first name? Can you write it out phonetically so I can learn to say your name? I always feel like I'm saying it wrong, and I feel horrible. And it's a dyslexic thing. I swear to you, I'm very dyslexic, and certain names I cannot get. Something about, there's like a mental... Dorfies. Is that right? Dorfies? I'm going to actually write that down. Like, no kidding. I'm going to write that down so I can have it committed because I want you on as many panels as I can. This year because I loved your energy. I loved hanging out with you at the Indie Takeover. I love being around great creators, and I was so lucky to be surrounded by such immensely talented people at the Indie Takeover. I can't wait till we do it again this April in Daytona. And what are we doing? We're talking about how to make more panels. So you can file upload right here your videos. So this is a pretty easy one to get a panel done. I like it when they're this way. Some places you have to send an email, and then you have to make out an email for yourself. Even finding it sometimes becomes a problem. Like here's the event info, activities. See, it doesn't really give you a place. So now you're playing, well, how the hell am I supposed to do this? So this is March 2nd and 3rd. Yeah, there's no place in here. Maybe the forum. Are you going to try for New York or Chicago? If you mean New York Comic-Con, yeah, of course. I'm going to over try for New York Comic-Con. I'm going to put in like 20 panels, see which one sticks. For Chicago, do you mean C2E2? Because if you mean C2E2, I've already put in for, I believe, 3 of them. Yeah, I put in a C2E2. I've put in for. I put in for a table. I put in for a table, Dorfies, and see, I'm reading it to make sure I get it right. I put in for a table. I'm on a wait list. Apparently, I suck when it comes to Reed Pop. No, I'm kidding. Reed Pop gets a lot of people. They're very popular. I applied. I need to get a table. Good luck. If you get a table, like, I'll come by and say hi. I've been put on a wait list. I don't know. Maybe I made someone at Reed Pop mad. Maybe I have to go like shake hands and make friends. Last time I was at C2E2, I was giving away the ultimate virus. I was sick as a dog. I think everyone who got sick after that was probably my fault. And speaking of Reed Pop. Here's a Reed Pop show, and they got rid of their Christmas stuff. It was actually snowing here. So Reed Pop usually does a great job. So you just come in here and you can look, entertainment, explore, contact us. There's a pull list, and here's an industry. Press relations, media, interested in exhibiting. And, oh, they actually don't have one for their panels, which probably means, in all honesty, that their panel section is, oh, no, here it is. Usually their panel sections close, and that might be the case in this. Cool. I'm actually going to get that link in a minute, or we won't watch the whole thing, but I'll do that. Panels and screenings. Yeah, so here, if you want to apply now, so it's still open. So here we go. And C2E2 and Reed Pop and New York Comic Con, they like to use Grow. Schedule submit are not currently active. So that means that they're closed. So maybe C2E2 is still open, which is next on our list. So we'll take a look over here and check out C2E2. Now, okay, so the press applications are there. Exhibitor, I think the press, the exhibitor. Oh, no. I think their panels are done, which I did get to put in for panel. Nope, here we go. Until January 8th. Okay, so you guys can put in for a panel. Here we go. And I love C2E2's panels. They're really simple. So you just do apply now. January 8th, that's next Tuesday. And then you start off your email address. We'll do written sins at yahoo.com. And we'll put in a panel because I don't do screenings. And then you make your panel title, you describe it here, and then if you have more that you want to put in, because this will be how the panel describe here, and try to make sure you're not giving any errors in what you're writing, because they'll a lot of times just go right to print and not fix your errors. And I had that happen to me, and I've had people make errors when there was someone who turned one of my panels into like how to do cosplay. And I was like, no, I don't know how to do cosplay. I mean, I know how to dress up as people, but I don't know how to make any of this stuff. And it was a really bad time. That was not my favorite time of life. But what topics here? And that's where you get control. Make sure you're doing comics, graphic novels. I hit on this one. I did this one. I did professional on this one. See, must select at most 2 options. So this one, I would have done comics and graphic novels. Out of the 2, have you presented at this panel? Have you presented this panel at any other conventions before? Yes. And then literally here for like the Indie Advocates Presents, because it's really just the 2018 evolved into more branding, and we're not talking as much about social media because last year we focused on social media. This year it'll be focused on branding, because I think branding was more important than social media. Social media we were able to talk about in 10 minutes. Branding took longer to talk about, so we switched it. So I did this panel, not to lie, 15 times last year. And I literally said, honestly, I've done this panel so many times that it'd be hard to list. Here are the bigger shows I did it at, and I listed the bigger shows that I did it at. And it was pretty good that way. Does your programming contain any 18+ content? Usually I try to do anything that does not exclude anyone, but for our diversity one that me and Marcus do with Dorfies, we put the over 18 on that one. So if we're doing that one, we can talk about bondage, we can talk about BDSM, we can talk about sexuality, we can talk about things. And we're not carting anyone at the door. That's up to the convention, but we do want to know that there could be something. Do I plan to give giveaways? Sometimes I bring some books and I give it to the people who ask the best questions. Sometimes I don't. It really just depends. For C2E2, I probably would give away books, because C2E2 is such a big show. You're going to probably get a lot more passionate fan. While smaller shows, and this is the catch here, a lot of times when I'm doing a panel, not necessarily everyone cares who I am as a creator. They care that I have information they need, which I'm super okay with, believe it or not. I don't get mad about that at all, because I used to be the person in the room who only cared about the information that would help me. So I understand that and respect it. So I don't necessarily want to give a book away for someone who might not enjoy it. Does that make sense? What I do give away are usually the handouts, and people who went with me, Dorfies and Marcus, have seen it, the handout, which gives all the amazing information, which I'll be redoing at some point this year. I want to burn through the old ones I have. I think I have like 50 left. When I burn through that, I'll reinitiate a new one, and I'll update it with some new fantastic stuff. Some panels may be live streamed if requested. Do you give us permission to live stream your panel? And of course, yes, because you want that public face. Are you exhibiting at C2E2? No, because you won't let me. Is this a performance? Everything I do is a performance, but I still put no because you don't want performances are weird. Don't put performance. Always say no. Don't do performances. Be your genuine self. If you have it, please provide us a working link to the footage. And then we usually only schedule panels in 1 hour blocks if panel accepted. And you may request more time, but be ready to trim it back if we can't accommodate your request time. See, that's fair. And then panel rooms are equipped with that. And it says, I understand. And then do you have any technical questions? Now, the next page would be putting in who are your panelists are, their information, their numbers, their emails. So that's it. And for those shows that don't have panels like this, and some of them are really simple. Some of them, honestly, will just be a basic form where it'll say, hey, what's your name? Put your name right here. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us what the panel is. How long do you want? And what's your email? And it's that simple. The smaller shows will have the smaller ones like that. So that's it. I mean, it's pretty basic. It's just more about getting out there. The more panels you do, like in 2017, I put in to do like 10 panels. I got approved for, I think, 4. And then in 2018, I put in to do 20 panels, and I wound up doing 30. And I only got shafted on 5 panels. MegaCon, which I don't understand. Someone at MegaCon must not like me. Because mine were shot down and they actually had open blocks. So I don't know. Maybe someone thinks I'm someone, or maybe I stepped on someone's toes. You never know. I mean, you make an enemy of a person, they hate you for life. So I don't know. It's got to be something though with MegaCon, because they're the only one in Florida who turns me down, and I don't get it. Like, I usually get in SuperCon. I've done the panels. I put in for it. I expect to get it this year. Raleigh SuperCon might be harder to get into this year, but I think because I did it last year, it shouldn't be a problem, because I've actually done the stuff with them. And at Raleigh, we had a packed room. And we got a lot of hits for that, and off the site. Like, the site saw a lot of hits showing up. So I was pretty excited about it, believe it or not. All right, so we got some more people saying hi to me, and we're going to go to this particular video. We're going to watch 2 videos real quick, and you can see me at work. All right, here we go. I guess we're going to have to go into it. All right, here we go. Saying hi to me, and we're going to go to this particular video. We're going to watch 2 videos real quick. And everyone, thank you to everyone for showing up today in the first indie takeover. Basically, we have taken over the panel room as indie comic book creators. We want to not only open conversations with you guys, but actually explain to you what it is to be an indie comics. We wanted to. Okay, we're gonna go over and everyone, thank you to everyone for showing back right now. Getting around the takeover. Basically, thank you all for tuning in to the live room as indie comic book creators. We want to not only open conversations with you guys, but actually explain to you what it is to be an indie comics. We wanted to start with a very powerful panel this morning about diversity and about sexual equality in comic books, because I think it's very important. Very often, before it happens in the world, it happens in comic books. And that's a true thing that's happened throughout the reality. All right, so here we go. This is Marcus, who we've been talking to, and Dorothy's. And that's me sitting on the chair, because I have trouble getting up and down from chairs, and I was going to be in that room all day. And you can see the little support that I got on my calf, because I got spasms there. So I know some people ask me, why do I wear that? It's not a fashion statement. That's Paige Alfred on Facebook. Great creator. He's oh crap. I'm like, my mind just went blank on his character. I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to have to look it up while you guys watch the video. And that's Terrence Baker, who filmed this for us. So what is page?
Lifetime. My name is Mr. Anderson.
Oh, and then notice that we put up all of our panel. When we took over the room, we put up all of our banners. Everyone's banner went up. So I thought that was really cool. Marcus, you got to bring a banner next time. I don't think you had one for this.
I am the indie advocate.
I'm going to skip ahead a little.
Remember the cartoon Shazam? Shazam was about a boy who turned into a woman, a superwoman. Now, then they said, we weren't ready for that. But if we could have taken advantage of the momentum that that cartoon had, then the
and it's not being a bad guy, it's actually now a good guy. It shows something. And
now I do want to point out, you don't control the audience. Someone brought their kid into it. And I think there was a point where they were like, oh, no, you can say anything you want in front of the kid. And we were like, okay, whatever. We don't control who shows up in the audience. And that's important to remember.
a lot of things these guys are writing now are breaking barriers in ways that haven't been, and they show you what's really going on. Victor Jenkins can't be here. He's all the way out in Michigan. But he wrote The Samaritan, and I grew up in an inner city, Jamaica, Queens. I spent a lot of time there, and some of the things I saw there really reminded me of a real world that you could see a hero being caught in. That's beauty. That's realism, and media is afraid. Like right now, movies are afraid to do what we're doing, but they'll do it one day. They're starting to now with all the stuff that's coming up. I mean, look, we recently had that movie Superhero become a movie. Finally, there's representation. You know, I never understood that. I never understood why every superhero had to be beautiful. And I was like, God,
if you think about it, mainstream a lot of times, so many reasons going every year. You know, I mean, who's not tired of a reboot?
And, you know, we talked a great deal of that. And here's the other one.
This is how to make indie comics. So it's an exciting panel. We're going to go live right now on social media. I'm going to let them have the whole panel so you guys can film the whole thing. I'm just saying, hello, everybody. You're back here with the Indie Takeover. We're going to go down the line real quick. Just say who you are.
Travis Kim, I broke down before the dice.
David Byrne, I've got the couch. Terrence Baker, ICC Pink Hammer. Alpha Page, creator of Chess.
Marcus Roberts, creator of The Protector.
Regina, creator of Spurs Destiny.
Or Charcoal El Bandito's Power Hour of Love.
And now, mine might take a little longer. We have the fourth monkey. We have Fetish Babies, which we're renaming because people hate the name, and they're bad people for it. And they call us Monsters and Jackson Anderson. So that's who I am as a creator, and we're going to talk about how you can create comic books. You suck for not coming internet. So you don't get to see it on this channel. You have to go to the Power Hour. I'd love to see the rest of the panel because they're getting the exclusive. And you're not. All right, guys. So the way that we do the panels are always fun. They're about you guys. So if you have a question, shoot it out.
We had some really
The metaphor here is that those pounds on the bar are things you have to accomplish to put them on your bar so you can live. Meaning the pros. I've had artists.
I'm trying to see if there's a part where
I don't care. You don't pay for a test page. You want to know why?
Why?
Tell them not to color, and that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
You want to see that they're serious. A lot of artists writers get burnt because they pay for that first test page, and they will do their best work because they paid for it. And then the second page, they're going to do less good work. That's like any worker. You hire a person on day one, they're your best worker, and play them up. What's day two like? Instead, you tell them, give me a free page. And in that moment, you're going to see what they really do because they're going to be pissed off if they have to do it. They're going to either call it in or they're going to take it serious.
I'll pay for this.
Yeah, I don't. I will not. I refuse.
That's your application.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. You show me your work, the job. This is the job. Fine arts.
Yeah.
And I'll let you guys see both of these. I'll put both of these on the site today. So that's it. I hope I answered everyone. I hope I gave a pretty thing. Once you get to know where the panels are on the pages, and you start reaching out to people, doors start opening. People want content like we can deliver. Marcus, Travis, Dorfies, and all the other creators. These cons want us to be talking about it, especially from indie, because we're the new guys on the street. You know, we're not talking about what we created. We're talking about what we're creating, and we create a buzz. And Travis had said on a program recently that we were being interviewed on, and we've done a couple interviews, so I don't remember exactly which one. But he said that the one thing he loved the most about doing panels with me is that after the panel, everyone follows you back to the table. And it's true. Once you do a panel, you're going to have people at your table for 45 minutes picking your brain, talking off your ear. And it's wonderful. And it's wonderful to give back. One of the things that I like to say in a panel, and I remind people very nicely, is, hey, if you want to see a creator that's been on a panel today and ask them a few questions, please, by all means, go to their table, talk to them for a little bit, but just be mindful of their time. They'd be happy to help you, and they can help you off of social media, or on social media, I should say, and they can help you on the internet. They're here for selling comic books too, so try not to take up too much of their time. Keep your questions to the very important ones, make a connection with them, and let them go on about their day. And if you really like the stuff that they did, find a way to buy a book or something for their time. That's optional, of course. Well, that's it. We're into 2019. I look forward to covering the entire season with you guys. And if you have any other questions that we can hide in these videos, let me know, and I'll put them in, and there'll be a hidden secret on the Comic-Con Highway Forecast Show.